Hello friends, welcome to new video tutorial. In this tutorial, we are going to see about Flutter application development, basically mobile application development using Flutter. So in this entire series, we are going to see what is Flutter and what are the advantages of Flutter over other cross-platform development tools. So first of all, what is cross-platform development tools? So that are all the features that we are going to see. We'll start with a Flutter introduction, like what are the advantages and disadvantages, and why there are so many cross-platform tools, and why Flutter is recommended over those, and what are the advantages of Flutter over those other tools. From there, we'll move to Flutter widget development, like basic tools and widgets that we're going to use in Flutter for basic application development. So that's the first goal. So we'll start with the basic widgets. So in Flutter, everything is called as widget, like components in React Native or views in Android or iOS. From there, we'll move into slight complex topics like data binding. So everything will cover from basic to intermediate, and then we're going to use either internal storage and external storage, both. First, we'll start with the internal storage, to how to store data in a local database, which Flutter provides, and then we'll connect with the external DB, either Firebase or MongoDB. We'll connect with the external database, or how to make a API call to such database, and how to get data from those database and populate in our Flutter application. So that's the advanced topics, and then we'll finish off it with placing some ads inside our application, either AdMob or Facebook ads. We have lots of ad tools to monetize our app. So that's the ultimate aim of any developer. Apart from that, business apps. So if you are developing some fun or entertainment apps or some utility apps, our obvious goal is to place some ads in that Flutter in our application and monetize and get benefit out of those as a passive income. So that's obvious goal of application development. We're gonna cover those as well. How to place ads and what's the best practices for placing ads in a mobile application. From there, we'll wrap up. So this is the first video. We'll gonna start with the introduction of Flutter. So if you see that Flutter home screen, build apps for any screen. So any screen, in the sense, it's for both iOS, Android. So you can see here, it's for both Windows, desktop, and then Android and iOS as well. So you can see this is iOS screen. So it covers for all type of screens. So that's a basic motto of this Flutter. Build apps for any screen. Okay, we'll go with the formal introduction. So first of all, Flutter. Flutter is just a UI toolkit for fast and beautiful natively compiled application development. So what is fast, beautiful, and natively compiled? Fast. So compared to other frameworks we have, so Flutter is slightly fast. And beautiful. Beautiful in the sense, UIs, there are lots of UI widgets are pre-compiled available in our Flutter application. So we can design beautiful applications using Flutter, and natively compile. So whatever code we write, it will compile, it will convert it into native code, so that we can also enjoy the native features available by that particular OS. And as already I said, it's both. It's for all three: mobile, web, and desktop applications. So we can build a mobile application, either Android or iOS, and then web application and desktop as well. So one language, single code base. Even though there's a slight modification needed for, say example, Android and iOS, but most of the codes remain same. Say example, 90% of the code remains same for both Android and iOS. In that case, just one language is enough for both Android and iOS. In case we are developing in our native, for example, for Android we are using either Java and Kotlin. For iOS, Shift or C#. Obviously, we have to develop two different applications, two different code base, completely different from each other. There is no common thing between those applications except maybe UI. But if you come into this cross platform, that's only one language we can use for both Android and iOS. Without much effort needed to develop into two different code base, two different applications. That's a slight modification according to that native feature which is available in Android or iOS. Apart from that, the entire code base is same. And it's Google's Dart. The application language used for Flutter development is Dart. That is a Google's own language. They're providing it, and it's a open source, completely open source. So we can modify code as we wish. And it's managed by ECMA standard. So ECMA is basically European Computer Management Manufacturers Association. This is a standard for scripting languages like JavaScript, JScript, etc. This is one of the JavaScript is one of the popular implementation of this ECMA script. Even though we are going to use Google's Dart, this is managed by ECMA script for some standards. And this cross-platform. So coming to cross-platform, so how it works in different OS, that's gonna see separate code for different OS. Basically, now in usual days, what we do is we'll develop separate apps for both Android and iOS, even for desktop and web apps. But today there are lots of cross-platforms available. To how this cross-platform works. So basically, framework, we are developing framework. Framework will convert simple HTML to JavaScript or whatever we need. We'll handle front end with HTML and back end, not back end. The logic for that front end, which data to display, is handled by JavaScript. That's the usual conventional framework that we have. To overcome that, we introduced cross-platform. We write code in one language and convert that code into native code. So whichever works in that particular OS, we'll convert that code into those particular native code, so that it will work in both OSs or whatever we have. Drawbacks of this is slow performance. So it has slight performance issue compared to other cross-platform languages. So that's one single drawbacks of this. And then coming to specifically to Flutter, we have lots of widgets, which is called as UI. So in React Native, we'll call that as a component. In Android or iOS, we call it views or UI views. So that's a basic building blocks of the Flutter. So everything is widget here. Whatever we use, either text widget to show the text, or widget to get the text from user, or button. So whatever we use, everything is called as widgets in Flutter. Even our entire application is called as a widget, single widget. That widgets may or may not have state. So what is state? State is a particular, if you're opening on screen, if you have to store some data for that particular screen, you may need state for that screen. Say example, counter. If you are clicking a button for first time, it will show 1. If you continue clicking on the button, it will count, will increase automatically 2, 3, 4. That data is stored in some state, so that whenever we need, or whenever we refresh, or whenever we click again, we'll take it from state and update it to state. We'll display that state to screen. So logic is handles a separate state, and whatever value we have in state will get reflected in the UI. So that is the state. That's not completely necessary. If we need, we can use, or else if that's just a static screen, no need to change or update anything, then state is no needed. We may or may not have state based on our requirement. When the state is changed, as example, as our count example, there's a conventional example that's a basic starter kit for Flutter. If you click that button, that count state will increase. Whenever there's a state change, components re-render its entire screen. So whenever there is a change, wherever there is a change, that particular change will get reflected then and there. So if a state is changing, if a state change from 1 to 2, the places wherever the state is being used will get refreshed, so that the states, that places where we are using that state will get also updated. And one important advantages of this Flutter is it doesn't use WebView or OEM to render HTML or whatever we are using in web content. It uses its own engine, rendering engine, so that UI everything will look beautiful. That's one motto of this Flutter. It says a beautiful application. Hot reload. Whenever we are developing code in our classical Android iOS, we have to redeploy code to see the changes. But here, if you are doing some changes, whenever you save that code, it will get automatically refreshed in our app without needing to change the state or refresh the state. For example, you are building application for counter. You are in count 7. And if you are making some changes, say example, you are changing the color of the text, and whenever you save the changes, that 7 won't be get refreshed. The color of the text alone will get changed, so that state remembers same. That's a hot reload feature available in Flutter development. This will help for development purpose. And then Dart uses minimal code, and this is a compilation technique, AOT and JIT, ahead of time and just-in-time compiler. It uses combination of both to improve the performance of Flutter application. As we already see, it's a beautiful UI, and performance of this Flutter is high. Even though there are some prerequisites for this application development like Dart, Android Studio, HTML, CSS, CSS. Even though we are not familiarized with Dart, we can cope up with development, since it's a very easy language to learn. Dart, we can grab with whatever knowledge we have. Just if we have enough coding languages and little experience with Android Studio, we can easily proceed. So even though there is no compulsory requirement for this all 3 languages, just if you have basic coding knowledges and OOPS concepts, it's completely fine to start with the Flutter application development. So from here we'll stop with the introduction for Flutter. From next video we'll start setting environments for our Flutter application development, and then we'll start with the coding. Thank you.